Hey Canada, it's Earl. Today, April 1st, 2026, the federal government quietly raised the industrial carbon tax by another 16%. 16% on April Fool's Day of all days. And while they're doing that, gas prices at the pump are already through the roof. You're paying $1.70, $1.80, even close to $2 a liter in some places. They're blaming it on the war in Iran, saying it's not our fault, it's global events. Fine. But here's what they're not telling you. Even with those high pump prices and the war excuse, they still went ahead and jacked up the industrial carbon tax anyway. They didn't pause it. They didn't reduce it. They increased it. Let me tell you what this really means for you and me. This tax doesn't just hit big factories and oil companies. It hits every single Canadian. It drives up the cost of diesel for trucks, natural gas for heating, fertilizer for farmers, and the electricity that runs almost everything. That 16% increase doesn't stay locked away in some government account. It gets passed straight on to you in higher prices for groceries, heating your home, filling up your car, and buying just about anything that has to be shipped or manufactured. You're already struggling to afford bread that costs more than it did last year, milk that keeps going up, and rent that's out of control. Now they're adding another layer of cost on top of everything. While you're trying to figure out how to make ends meet, they're making energy more expensive on purpose. This carbon tax is a scam. They call it pricing pollution, like it's some noble environmental plan. But the money doesn't magically fix the climate. A huge chunk gets sent out as rebates or disappears into green slush funds. And the rest just makes life more expensive for working people. Meanwhile, the big players and insiders keep finding ways around it or even profit from it. And look at what it's doing to our economy. Businesses are closing or leaving the country because they can't compete anymore. Manufacturers are getting hammered with higher energy costs. Farmers are paying more for fuel and fertilizer, which means higher food prices for you. Trucking companies are paying more to move goods, so everything at the store costs more. We're losing jobs, we're losing investment, and we're losing entire companies to countries that don't have this kind of self-inflicted wound. Most of the world doesn't even have a carbon tax like this. The United States has no national carbon tax. China has a limited system in some sectors, but nothing this punishing. India, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, none of them are crippling their own industry with a broad industrial carbon tax the way Canada is. We're one of the only major resource-producing countries deliberately making our energy and manufacturing more expensive while our competitors laugh and take our business. And what does Mark Carney do while all this is happening? He gives himself a raise. He gives his ministers raises. He hikes the tax on alcohol on the same day. And then he tells you that you need to sacrifice because times are tough. Is he really looking out for Canadians? Or is he looking out for the globalist agenda, the big institutional investors, and his own circle while the rest of us try to figure out how to heat our homes and feed our families? This 16% carbon tax hike isn't about the environment anymore. It's about control. It's about making sure the average Canadian stays broke and dependent while the insiders keep getting richer. I'm Earl. I'm just a regular Canadian who's sick of watching this. If you're as angry as I am, call your MP. Tell him you're done with this scam. Tell him the carbon tax is making life harder, not better. We deserve better than this. Thanks for listening. Stay awake.